Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. One, I want to address the automations. As I shared with you 2 days ago, we had a bit of a hiccup. We actually sent out $3,000 worth of extra coin to various addresses. Those addresses got 10 times, 11 times, 12 times their individual typical weekly transaction. So we've been able to identify it and close it off. In which case I'm going to email those individuals, simply share, hey, we sent you a little extra. We don't want to burden you with having you send it back, but we are going to change your last paid date to sometime in the future. So for instance, the way the automations work is when your Rhino is distributed to you, it then is on a clock. Exactly 7 days later, the bot will recognize that you haven't been paid in 7 days, exactly 7 days. It'll then look at your Stripe account to see if the transaction went through and what the amount was. It then does its calculations and it then goes ahead and distributes you your Rhino. Now that last paid date, hey Brian, that last paid date is dependent on when you last paid, right? But we could also manually change that, and by we I mean my team, in which case if we've paid you say 10 weeks in advance, we can now change that last paid date to 10 weeks in advance, meaning everything will stay exactly the same for you. In fact, it's almost, well, it is kind of a reward for you because as Rhino continues to move higher, you basically bought 10 weeks on layaway, right? Like you bought all of the coin you're going to own that you would have purchased 10 weeks from now, but instead at today's price, and that sits in your account. So that is how we're moving forward with that. As it pertains to just the regular automations, well, we've paused it. So I did get a couple of emails, hey, I did not receive my coin, and I know that. It should have been resolved as of yesterday, in which case I will get a confirmation today, in which case I then could go ahead and fund the BNB, which is the gas fees, and get that out to everyone. So I do want to let everyone know, if you're not seeing a coin in the last 3 days distribution, that's completely, like, we're aware, right? And we're doing it purposely. As it pertains to Rhino Bucks, we are, I think, $200 away from an all-time high in liquidity again. We went ahead and purchased some this morning. We're still sitting at the 265-ish. And I kind of want to talk about that just a little bit because about 2 weeks ago, we had cited and managed expectations that we believed we'd be able to support 255 for, a month or 2 month period of time before we were able to step up. And of course, that's management of expectations that sharing with you is a calculation of all the things that we know are going on, all the things that will be going on by then, and a bunch of other variables with it. So we don't just simply say, okay, and then we'll be able to do this. Well, we have to back it up, right? We have to be able to support it because the second the market sees, well, they said this and they obviously can't do it, so why should we trust anything they say? That's a problem. In which case, 100%, 100% of anything that I ever say will have that exactly in mind. Be that as it may, we're sitting at 265, 266. And I have shared that it's higher than I want it, but that's fine. But what it does do, it does change my behavior a little bit. So instead of me, as money comes in, say putting 50% to buy the coin and 50% to put into the liquidity pool, now it's kind of like 25-75, maybe even 20-80. Because again, I want every day for some, to see it moving, right? Like that's important. Oh, we're closed at 265 yesterday. Now it's 266. Great. We're happy with that. But it's the liquidity pool that I want to continue moving up, 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 up. So a week ago, we were sitting at 269.74 and our liquidity pool was 131,700. We're now sitting at 265 and our liquidity pool is 131,500, right? So we're 4 cents away, but only $200 under, meaning every Rhino is progressively becoming that much stronger. That's the whole point. I want everything to be stronger, stronger, stronger. I want it to be fortified on such a level of bricks that when we get to the point where everyone has all of this coin, no one ever says, well, I don't know if I could sell today because I'm going to sell a lot. No, sell it all. I go for it, right? The market can handle it. That's my job. The market can handle it. So that's that's the North Star of everything we do. So whether it's value propositions, mission statements, saving the world, all the rest of it, that can only be done on a mass level because we're all doing it together. When there is a beacon, when there is a central point, when there is a centralized hub that everyone could point to, agree to, and allowed to represent them because they have an ownership interest in it. And that's the price of Rhino Bucks. So regardless of anything we ever tried to do, if Rhino Bucks ended up going to zero, this experiment is over. So it's always good to know what your goal is, but subsequently you have to know what your metric is, I guess, right? Your goal and your metric. You need to know those two because it's never just one thing. And Rhino Friend, which I had cited yesterday, we believe we'll have a rollout for next weekend. So that's that. The text message that I had gotten yesterday. So it's so funny when you categorize something as like it's going to be black or white, and then it's gray. Um, it's like when you're dating someone or you like someone. If you text them and they don't text you back, the rest doesn't really matter, right? You thinking, oh, I have this amazing dinner, this amazing restaurant I'm going to bring her out to, and then I'm going to buy the flowers from this amazing place, and I'm going to buy. If they don't text you back, it doesn't really matter. So as much as them texting you back isn't the metric you're looking to celebrate, and when you deduce it down, it actually should be, because nothing can happen without communication. I'm sure there's loved ones that you have that say they don't have time to get back to you. I'm sure there's people that you thought were great friends and they don't have time to get back to you. When life happens, time becomes something difficult, especially if you have a full plate, right? And this individual has a full plate. So time is different. I remember when I was younger, what's the amount of money a guy should spend on his girlfriend's birthday present? What's the amount of money a guy should spend on his girlfriend's engagement ring? And there's always those individuals that try to cite a number, which is the wrong answer, because it's always going to be proportionate to what the guy has. So rule of thumb, you would spend 3 months income on the engagement ring. So it doesn't matter how much you spent on the ring, but it shows that for 3 months, you saved up every single dollar, which you probably couldn't because you have to still pay rent and pay other stuff. But the point being, how difficult was your life over those 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? How many sacrifices did you make and save up that money that represented that amount? And that means that when you hand that ring over, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever that receives that ring, it's not about what the ring looks like, but they know what it represented. It represented that for 8 months or however the period of time that they believe it was, that's every single day when you were forced or given a decision to make, whether it's order Chinese food or go to a movie or go to a bar, you chose to not do it and save that money so that you could have this moment. And I think things like that are special. The time that I give you is only valued against the time that you perceive that I have available. So if I have no time available, like I literally just have no time, to the person that has absolutely no time at all, well, then when they schedule a call with you for a half hour and it's within 24 hours of you requesting it, well, that's meaningful. I gotta tell you, and I want to open it up to everyone, so I will let everyone read it once it's all said and done. It is so Anthony. Like, it is like if you would read it, I could read it out loud in front of a crowd, and the crowd would be like, "Oh my God!" And then what happens? It's passionate, because I did send it to one of actually our largest investor, who's been with us since 2017. And I asked him, I was like, can you just do me a favor? I need someone to read this and give me an honest opinion, because I'm reading it through Anthony eyes. Like I'm totally biased. I can't see if it's good or not. I have no idea, but I know that, which is a good thing. So he read it and wrote back. He goes, I guess it's fine. I go, you guess it's fine? I was like, seriously, so offended. He goes, what you wrote is fine, but the passion is what's going to get it. Like, I could feel the passion. I could feel it in the words. I go, so why didn't you just say that? He's like, because I want to mess with you. That's what you get for investors that have been with you since 2017. Did you get to, no, Frida, I still haven't seen them. But to that point, actually, I do want to kind of touch on that. So without going into court, because I'm not allowed to share things that happened, God forbid, right? I think kids are resilient, right? And my kids are under 2. Like, my daughter is, 9 months? My son is 20 months, right? Like, they're young. And although I know how difficult this has been for them, because I talk to them every day, like, in my head, you would have to look up string theory and quantum physics and stuff to understand that I believe consciousness is the binding factor that connects everyone. So I'm with them. And now, whether that's me just making myself feel better or not, that's a different story. But I'm with them all day. I know that if I saw them and then had to be taken away. Like I saw them for an hour and then still had to go another 2, 3 weeks. The pain it would cause them that I know I'd have to live with would be too much for me. So I won't do it. The first 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, hey, listen, I haven't seen my kids. I haven't seen my kids. I haven't seen my kids. But then it became very apparent that this is going to be a longer process. And again, for 1,000 reasons that I'm not allowed to share, or opinions, right? But once I realized that the process was a little bit longer than I hoped, I wasn't willing to do that to my kids. It just, it would be to whose benefit? It would make me feel better and they would love it. And we would have the most magical time ever, right? Like I know it. I see my son running to me and saying, Dad. But then what? Oh, sorry, son, I gotta go. And then he's like, wait, where are you? I thought you were, I won't do it. So the answer is no, but that's a little commentary on it. I feel good. I actually feel quite optimistic. As odd as it sounds, there's times where you don't know why you're so happy. You have your ideas, it still requires yeses and things like that, but you already see it. Like you already know it's going to happen. And I can't explain that. It's almost like the mother that sees the car on the sun. They don't run to the car wondering if they could pick it up. Like they know that's not even the part that they think of. They already their next thought in their head is hugging their son or going to the hospital. They don't even factor in the cars being a hurdle. That's kind of how I feel right now. And of course, there's a car, right? Like we have to pick it up. But I don't even have a portion of me that thinks that's going to be a hurdle. I just don't. So that's where that is. So let me run. I'll see Rhino Wealth at 11. I'll see everyone in the email tonight. I promise, promise, promise. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. So love y'all.